Yeah.
Now am I good?
Yeah.
Hello? Now you hear me? Do y'all hear me? There we go. Sorry about that. Sorry, we are back. So that was a little funny intro, but guess what? We're trying new things. We're trying new
Yeah.
things. It's gonna be some super fire coming up. So just bear with us. Don't be like,
Yeah.
why ain't doing this? Why ain't doing that? Don't worry about that. It'll be on and popping. You just enjoy what's going on right now. Big game James Law Nation for the late night high. What's up with your big dog?
Man, everything. And even though it's nighttime, the sun is still shining bright somewhere, man. We rocking and rolling.
Well, here you go. Here you
Yeah.
Are you ready?
One thing, Cowboys Nation.
I said, are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go with it, man. Yes, indeed.
I got a donation. Donation. Hit me, Will.
Hey.
What it do? Hey ho, $5 holla. You know it's count.
Yeah.
Holla, holla. Donation. Donation. Give me that donation one more time. Give me that donation one more time.
Good
Holla,
stuff.
holla. Hey, we just trying new things, y'all. We're gonna have fun. You just keep on tuning in and don't make Eastside Harold, who ain't even a Cowboys fan, be the only one donating. Y'all know what it is. So what's up, Law? Talk to me, big dog. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm feeling like this team has turned a new corner. Hey, I said burn down the house. They took it literally. You know, they took everybody out of the frame outside of Doug Nussmeier, outside of a Kelly Moore. Maybe Leon Lett could be the only person on the defense can hold on to everlasting hands. But so far, they are the only three that's left from the J.C. Garrett administration.
Yeah, I know we know about the Jason Garrett administration, and I'm one that is gladly finally over with. You feel me? Because it's just enough is enough. We don't want to hear the controversy. Now we got a Mike McCarthy in there, and you see when we looked at the staff, the biggest thing that jumped out to me was veteran. Veteran, a lot of veterans, except on possibly the defensive back. Obviously, that the coach they got from Texas A&M, Lindquist, I believe. But you still got veteran around him with Al Harris, who's going to be assisting with him. And we know how that was a big hire to me. I don't know about you. I know we talked about a lot of the other pieces, but the guys that were just added on, like the Al Harris, the London Wells, those guys. What do you think about those additions?
My thing is, Al Harris come from the aspect of he's going to be able to show people the tangible things. You see, I think Maurice Lindquist, he's going to be like that student teacher that's going to be able to teach the people or the defensive back what to do, and Al Harris will be that guy to actually show them what to do. So that's how I look at it. And hopefully we can get these DBs to put their hands on the ball since we've been collectively ranked at the bottom half of the NFL lately.
Well, that's one of the things I really do like. Like I said, Al Harris, he was a big signing to me. London Wells, the reason why I'm excited about that because Jason Witten was the tight ends coach. That's the biggest thing that jumped out to me. Jason Witten, you ain't the tight ends coach because I ain't want to deal with that. And we're gonna bring that up a little bit later about him. But as far as if you look at just the situation around the staff, I just look at it as like it's more of a win now staff. When you looked at Garrett, it was some experimental. We saw he experimented with the Keith was O'Neal, whatever was the special teams. I think it was his first year. Doug Nussmeier, I don't think he was a tight ends coach ever. It was a lot of guys in new spots after one, maybe 1 year, not even really no experience, jumping right into the fray. Now you got with Mike McCarthy, you have experience across the board. Tom Sula, experience, used to be a head coach. Mike Nolan, experience, used to be a head coach. Joe Philbin, experience, used to be a head coach. You get the thing, a lot of these guys that we already see have already been head coaches in the game and have tons of experience. So when you look at the roster where it's more of a win now roster, you got a win now kind of coaching back behind it. So it looks like guess what? We're not playing around. We're not going to see what happens in 2 or 3 years with this staff. This is a win now mode staff, and we need to go out and get it because we have the players right now to do this.
Yes, indeed. Now, when we look back at everything, a lot of the time experience counts a lot, and a lot of people fail to realize that just what you just said You don't win far with those type of guys being in new positions, new roles. And I believe that it takes a complete unit in order to win in the National Football League. These people getting paid millions and millions of dollars. And what I was trying to say is that love don't win you games. I said that earlier on my other page about that because a lot of times Jerry Jones allowed Jason Garrett to coddle his players or coddle what he liked, you see, and never being able to identify the issues, never being able to make the necessary adjustments in key situations, meaning that if you see that your offense is struggle, if you see that this person is not being there at the right point or the right time, it's up to the head coach, not the assistant coach, not the wide receiver coach, not the guy that's running the water here and there. It's up to the head coach to step in and say, this is what I want to see been done. And we haven't seen this before. We haven't seen that before. So what I'm saying is with Mike McCarthy, although a lot of people have their reservations on Kellen Moore, it's hard for us to sit back and say to ourselves, hey, let's get rid of him. Although before he was able to be the offensive coordinator, the team was ranked 25th, 26th collectively. Now they rank number one, you see, in total offense. But Lord, what a matter? What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? That's what they're saying, Big Game James. And Will, they were saying, hey, what are you talking about? How is this guy able to stay on this particular roster? But what I'm saying is that with Mike McCarthy, he's going to be able to look at this and say, all right, I'm going to make these necessary adjustments when we get into the red zone, money zone, green zone. You continue to do your thing because I'm thinking you're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, well, you know what I like about that? I was watching a video, dog, and this video had Mike Pettit and it had Kyle Shanahan as when they were with the Browns. All right. And I just happened to see this clip, and I was thinking, like, was that Jason Garrett and was that Kellen Moore? There was a play. They were just about to run the play, and Mike Pettit's like, you know what? I like this play. I think we should run this. I think we should run this. What do you think? He looks like Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan give him to look like, for real, dude. I ain't going to say nothing because you're the head coach. He's like, you know what? Listen. Let's go with what you go with. I trust you. Guess what? He calls a pass, they get a touchdown. You get what I'm saying? So I'm thinking if that was happening with the Browns and we don't see everything, that damn sure was happening with the Dallas Cowboys. How do we know when we're talking about Kellen Moore was like, let's do some motion on this play. Let's do this play. Let's do that play. And Garrett was like, how about we just run this play with Ezekiel Elliott because I don't know about this, and let's go with the more the what we call it, the safe way. And guess what? When you go in the safe way, it looked like that's happening. And I think that's what was going on, that Garrett was trumping Kellen Moore because we saw when we watched the games, dog. We saw when we was on the road and we saw we was home. When we played at home and we had teams that we felt we could beat, it was all out. When it was them tough teams, it got real conservative and close to the vest. Now, I think when you got Mike McCarthy, he's going to have Kellen Moore call them plays, but I believe he's going to be right there by his side because he's been there and done that. I think it'll be a happy marriage because I believe he said he liked Kellen Moore from afar. He said he watched Kellen Moore from afar. And just like you said, we went from a 20-ranked offense to a top-ranked offense. And how can we really say Kellen Moore did a bad job when he kept that offense like that all year? Was it a little stale and boring at times? Yes. But I think that's when you saw Jason Garrett implement his fingers into it and then let Kellen Moore have his creativity like he wanted.
Yes, indeed. And shout out to everybody, man. I really appreciate you all that's watching. Just bear with us. We just trying to get this thing going in the right direction. We have my guy Skywalker. He's producing today, and as well as this is our first time with the three of us, and we trying to get this thing going. So just bear with us. Everything, you know how it is, Big Game James.
It's like perfect. A grand opening, dog. Ain't right on a grand opening, okay, folks? It ain't everything ain't right on a grand opening. We are doing testing. This thing is gonna be some fire. I like it now. Just bear with us. Act like you ain't act like you ain't heard no voices before. Y'all listen to radio. Well, act like you just listen to radio if you don't like what the features look like right now. Just listen to our voices, okay? We still spitting flame on a fire.
Fire, okay? Yoga flame.
You got fire. You got flame. So just bear with us. It's okay. It'll be all right. Now, what I wanted to say before we jumped into anything else, there was a passing law, and it was a big passing. Mr. C.J. McGee, he was a big diehard. I've seen it all across the Cowboys nation. A lot of people he was cool with. I personally never met him, but I will say that he had a picture. I don't know if it was him for sure, but I shared a picture and he was peeing on the Philadelphia Eagles kind of sign thing. I shared that picture and we thought it was like the best in the world. We thought it was like the greatest in the world.
Right.
And on my page it had like over 1,000 likes. Like everybody was loving it. It was dope and it was awesome. And then my homeboy was like, "That's my homeboy." So I was like, "Oh, that's dope." So that was I found out that was him. So I didn't know him, but from what I heard, he was a great dude. A lot of people loved him in Cowboys Nation. So rest in heaven. Rest in peace for you, sir. I got a big shout out to you from all Cowboys Nation. We mourn your loss.
Yes, indeed, man. And yeah, condolences out there for you and your entire family. Yes, indeed.
Donation. Where that, Will? Holla, holla. I got that 1999. Holla.
That's what I'm talking about. So the more you guys help this thing out, it's gonna get better, baby. Yes, indeed. I promise you.
It's gonna get better. Appreciate you, big dog. You always come with the flame on. Don't Vondell just come in smacking fools. He don't play around. He don't play with a $2 holler, $4 holler. He come in with 10 to 20 hollers, smacking me in my face. Thank you, dog. Appreciate you for going in the ocean. But let's keep on going, big dog.
Yes, indeed, man. So so the news that came out today, well, we doesn't go all the way back,
Okay.
Shout out to Coach Red, man. He got him a job.
You got him a job.
He got him a job. We want him to have a job, right?
I want him
he
to
got
have
a
a
job with the New York Giants. How do you feel about that, James?
I don't care, and so what? Matter of fact, I'm happy you're over there because guess what? Now it just makes it more interesting in the NFC. And let's be honest, Law. How many guys we always see leaving the Cowboys and they go with the Redskins or they go with the Eagles or they go with the Giants? So this ain't nothing new, for real. This ain't nothing new. And actually, I think he'll be pretty good over with the Giants because you know what? He can focus just on being an offensive coordinator. And if we look at the years he was an offensive coordinator with the Dallas Cowboys, our offenses were not terrible. They were very, very good offenses. And he's going to have some talent over there, Law. He's got Daniel Jones. He's got Saquon Barkley. He got Evan Ingram. They're going to have some draft picks. So it's not like I feel like they're going to be bums. But you know what? I'm not scared of Garrett being over there as the OC at all. I think it's going to be real good. And I love to see what our defense is going to go with him coaching that offense. So I think it's more of a subplot. I think it's going to be exciting, and I want to see it more than anything else because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care if Garrett went over there and won 17 Super Bowls. I'm never going to look back and say, dang, we lost Jason Garrett. Maybe we should have kept him. I ain't never saying that, big dog.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you get punched in the jaw, it makes you realize, man, I need to improve on a lot of things. Just like Mike McCarthy, he left. Well, he was forced to leave out of the Green Bay situation, but he sat back and reflect. And that's nothing wrong with it, Cowboy Nation. There's nothing wrong with.
What do you think about it?
Reflect. What I think about Jason Garrett, think that he'd probably be a good offensive coordinator. He'd never been head coach material. I don't care what nobody says. They try to bring up facts. They try to bring up the fact that Bill Parcells, not Bill Parcells, but Bill Belichick, his first 10 years wasn't as great as Jason Garrett and these sorts of things.
But he was an assistant coach for how long was he assistant coach, though? You feel me? That's what people. You feel me? That's what they fail to realize, Law. All these people that they mentioned, Jason Garrett was a freaking quarterbacks coach for 1 year, and then you became an offensive coordinator. You were already destined to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Where basically no really kind of experience all that. These guys that put in like 5, 6, 7, 8 years before they even got opportunities to be a head coach. You feel me? So I don't want to be hearing all that, Law.
Yes, indeed. So I just look at it like this. Whatever happens, happens. I'm on your side of the coin. Whatever happens, happens. But the Cowboys, we be ready. We better be ready. We better be locked, loaded, and ready. I just think that this particular team, we look at Mike McCarthy's offense, collectively speaking, it had always been an offense that was top in their respective divisions. There's always been a situation where he grooms and he protects and he builds rapport with the quarterback. So when we look at Dak Prescott collective skill set and what he was able to do with a Jason Garrett, what he was able to do with the resources that he had or what have you out there, and Jason Garrett coaching him. I'm thinking that if you look at the total picture, Cowboy Nation, this probably be the best thing ever that's going to happen for the young lad. I'm talking about Dak Prescott at this moment.
I think it will too because I mean it was real comfortable with Garrett there. I mean, let's be honest, was it not, Law? wasn't not comfortable with Jason Garrett, and that's why a lot of these players are like, I like Jason Garrett. I didn't want him to leave. You know why? Because it was so comfortable over there. It was comfortable as hell. That's why they all love Garrett being over there. Yeah, and I mean, I had a homie hit me up today, Law, and he said he read into Greg Hardy. Remember Greg Hardy used to play for the Cowboys? And he was like, what do you think about Garrett? He said, man, Garrett sucked. I'm not going to say he sucked, but he was saying that he was out of touch with a lot of players. Now, haven't you heard that story before?
Oh, man. Yes, and my grandma says not everybody lying on you. So somewhere lies the truth.
You feel me? They can't all be saying that Greg Hardy didn't talk to Dez Bryant or these other guys and just happened to say that. A lot of them said the same thing. So you know what? It's going to be a lot more pressure. Okay? Sometimes, Law, at a job, we don't like hearing all that noise from the supervisor, right? We get tired. Sometimes we go to work and you don't want to hear that oh Lord, I gotta come. I gotta hear this fool today. He just gonna get on my nerves. But you're gonna make you work, because if you don't work, guess what? Your job gonna be gone, dog. You know that? That's the reality of it. And that's what's going to be happening right now. I believe you're going to see that demand and that more of you in your face. You showed the little gif where you had Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy going at it. You showed the gif. So that tells you right now, he ain't afraid to get in somebody's face, and he ain't get afraid to get gritty and grimy. And that's what the Cowboys need right now. I'm not sitting there saying that has to be every single day, but for right now, I mean, Cowboys, when they are good, Law, is when we have to be consistent year in and year out. And that's why I like the guys that they brought in, because we don't have no loyalties to you. So if you don't do your job, you may not be here.
Right. So, hey, I just can't wait for this off season to get on the way, and when we can be able to get out there to Oxnard to see what's going to be implemented, I'm thinking that a lot of people look at this running situation and they say, well, Mike McCarthy's offense, they don't run the ball. But I recall when we lost to the Green Bay Packers, when Mike McCarthy was coaching the team, they ran the ball. They was able to run the rock.
They had players that ran the rock, dog. I mean, and he's got Ezekiel Elliott. How many times does he have an Ezekiel? Did he have an Ezekiel Elliott over there? No. So I'm sure he's going to run the ball. You have Aaron Rodgers and you have an Eddie Lacy. He still gave Eddie Lacy the ball, but you're Aaron Rodgers. So, of course, if you have an Aaron Rodgers, you're not thinking you're going to throw the daggone ball. That's why you got him, because he's a franchise quarterback and he can throw that ball. You got to implement now. You got a running back who's an all-world back, and you got a pretty good quarterback. You can make that quarterback grow. So I like the marriage, and like I said, I think he's going to press Dak Prescott and bring the best out of him. But before you do anything like that, guess what they got to do with Dak first? Sign him.
Signed him. Yeah, you got to pay the man. How do you feel about Dak, man? Do you pay him the money, or you sit back and wait and say, okay, I'm gonna franchise?
Dog, I'm not doing the franchise, dog. Let's think about this right quick. And I brought this up, Law. Okay, I brought this up on my page, and I had some people jump in there. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, you got Dak Prescott, who's played 4 years, right? 4 years. So you have 4 years of body of work to already see, and you just had him last year. We said, okay, you know what? We had some contract negotiation with you, and well, let's see what you're gonna do this year, and then that'll make us feel better. Okay, so I'm gonna throw for 5,000 yards. I have a career high in yards, career high in touchdowns, career high all across the board, my QBR, everything. And so this should have been my prove it year. This should have been my 4th year where I proved it and let you know. Now, it's not his fault that the market keeps on going up. It's not his fault that the market keeps on skyrocketing and going up the way it do. That's the market. That's not his fault. They go on body of work. They don't sit there and just look at the eye test. And second of all, look at this, Law. Tony Romo, when he had his first contract coming up, when he first signed his first big contract before the extension, he signed a 6-year, $67.5 million contract 2007 with $30 million guaranteed. It says Romo was in the final year of his contract and could have become a free agent at the end of the season. By signing him to the new deal by November 5th, the Cowboys will be able to apply some of that money towards their 2007 salary cap. And Jones said he wanted to see another kind of year just so Romo could kind of show him that they felt confident. So you had 3 years of sitting the bench, 17 games. So basically 1 full season, you got a 6-year, $67 million deal with $30 million guaranteed. Is that enough to show that anything? Is that 17 games to show that you're proving you're a franchise quarterback? No. Dak has 4 years.
True.
So why can't he get his money? If you paid Tony Romo that money, then why can't Dak Prescott get his money when he only has 17 games and you gave him that money? Dak's got 4 years of body of work. He's got 2 NFC East titles under his belt. He's improved pretty much every year. He had the uneven 1 year in 2017. You wanted, okay, let's get an offensive coordinator that can throw the ball. Y'all wanted to see if he could really throw the ball. And what'd he do? He slung it around everywhere. So what more does he have to prove? Why do you put him on a franchise deal for what? So you can take up $33, $34 million of the cap so you make it harder for you to sign these other guys? No, you sign him to that deal because also when they signed Romo to that extension, Stephen Jones said himself, that's our number one priority to sign Tony Romo. And when Stephen Jones jumps out there and says this is our number one priority to sign somebody, they get signed. He said it with DeMarcus Lawrence. Here's the thing, Law. You kept on talking that stuff with DeMarcus Lawrence. You could have signed him earlier. You still signed him to that same amount of money. He could have got the surgery done earlier. Don't play the little game back and forth with Dak Prescott. Sign this man if he's your number one priority. Lessen the years, because I heard that that's what really the sticking point. Lessen the years. Go to a 4 or 5 year deal. Make it right so you can move on from Dak. You don't need controversy. He can hold out. You're going to a new coach, a new staff. Do you really want to have this hanging over the head, this distraction?
I mean, Dallas Cowboys are built and doing this all the time. That's how they build, I guess, just dangling the low-hanging fruits and keeping everybody talking about it. And what's crazy to me, a lot of people would say, well, undoubtedly the Cowboys don't believe in Dak Prescott. And those who say that, they got a strong point. Meaning that if you know you're about to marry Beyonce, would you keep on saying, I'm going to push it back to March, baby. February not right for me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, no, not March. Let's push it back to, let's do September. I think that something is going to come up in March, you see. Nah, if you finna marry Beyonce, you're going to hurry up and say, okay, let's get this done. Let's get this job over with. Let's go ahead and I'm going to jump on not just one knee, but 2 knees. Not saying that Dak Prescott is a Beyonce. Of course, he probably not planned up to that level, but I'm talking about the level of commitment. A man got to be able to commit. A woman, the ladies that's in the chat box right now, none of y'all want promissory rings. Y'all want the real deal. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes at the end of the day, you get promise rings are too.
I worked at a jewelry store, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to do no promissory rings, dog. Let me tell you, I worked at K Jewelers. My booth ain't worked with me as well. And I know when I seen certain people walk in, and they said, hey, I got my girl, and I want to get her this, and I see the ring, I said, oh, yeah, I already know what kind of relationship y'all doing. I'll keep it real. She ain't, I'm looking at him like, how much money you got, dog? Because I don't think that's the ring you want to get her. She ain't gonna be feeling you on that. You feel me? She ain't gonna think you committed when you get this tiny old ring that she think is coming from a Cracker Jack box, dog. She want real commitment. She want big rings. She want real dope. She want big rings. She want to show all friends, look at my rock. And that's what Dak Prescott. Look at my big contract. And right now, Stephen Jones is like, oh, baby, I love you, but I don't know if I love you that much. Well, yeah. So they need to figure that out, though, Law, because we got over 20-something free agents, right? You got Amari Cooper. He said Dak is first priority, Amari is second. So if he's first priority, then you need to do it. And I understand with just what you're saying about the argument. If you love him, then why ain't you signed him already? Because they did with Carson Wentz. They did with Jared Goff. You get what I'm saying? But I think that 4th round pick is still sitting in their head.
Yeah.
That market is climbing like no other, and they know they have to sign other people. But all I'm saying is you did it with Romo, and he didn't have that much under his belt, and you signed him the money. So what's going on with that? And do you really want to start over? You franchise him or go somewhere else? Do you really want to start over with a new quarterback when it's a win-now team? No.
And see, that is the overall conundrum. Because what will happen here is that we are the most divided nation of all. You see, the Cowboy Nation. There's no other fan base that's more divided than us. You see what I'm saying? And by Jerry Jones continue to do this type of football operation, it's just going to continue to split that divide. Yeah. Got a little echo there. Go Murphy Law. Shout out to Murphy Law, man.
Hold on, y'all.
He already running the show right now.
They can't.
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah. Hello.
Are we good now? Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Should be good.
I'm gone. Oh, I'm
Boy.
out the box. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as long as y'all can't see me, y'all can hear me. Like I said, this is a test. Just stay in here, y'all. Well, this is our little test run show. So please don't be frustrated. Don't worry about it. As long as you can hear me, we good.
Yes, indeed, man. So if y'all can hear us, man, that's good, man. Shout out to what they say that.
They say feel like he on shrooms with the audio. I feel you. Hey, trust me. It's going to be beautiful. It's just like I said, we did this kind of on the fly, me and Long Skywalker. This is going to be hot. Just trust and believe. Trust and believe. Trust and believe.
You sound like Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett, man.
I tried something different. That didn't work out.
Oh, my goodness. This is all good, man. We going to work it out, man, one way or another, bro.
Yeah,
I apologize.
don't worry about it, y'all. Just
Don't worry, man.
Just worry. Let's just keep going. You know how they do? Just keep.
Look, dog. One time, let me tell y'all a little quick story, man. One time I went live, I talked for like 30 minutes to an hour, thinking I'm talking to somebody. I thought I'd hit record. I'm sitting here like talking. It was the best episode ever.
Ain't heard nothing.
I never hit record. I never hit the live button. I'm sitting like, what the fuck?
It is what
So
it is.
it happened to us all, man, when we first started out. So this was a good testament for those who hit us up all the time, James. Who
Y'all
said, hey,
love us.
they said, hey, man, Law, I want to do YouTube. I want to do Facebook. I want to do the gram. I'm sitting there like, dog, why you talking about it? Just do it. You know what I mean? Just do it. Get up, shake it off, do it. Whatever you have on your mind, spit it out and think it and put it out there to the echoes of the world. It may look sloppy. It may look ugly. It may look like that nobody want to give you the promised ring. You see what I'm saying? And nobody want to give you the real diamond or the rock or what have you. But you got to keep going. And my thing is with Dak Prescott and this whole entire situation with Jerry, Wayne Jones, and Stephen Jones, because Stephen Jones, we know he don't want to pay nobody, right?
Right, he don't want to pay.
And D-Law didn't make a good impression this year because he held out, and then he tried to use his shoulder as leverage, then they caved in, they paid him, and then what he looked like, right?
Right.
So they looking at it like, dang, Dak got a shoulder issue in the last few games. We want to pay him, but we don't want to pay him, but we're going to pay him. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I can look at it from those angles, too. I can look at it from the fact that they sit there and look at Ezekiel Elliott, who waited all offseason, you see.
Mm-hmm.
First game was week 1. Had to play himself into shape. Die-hard Ezekiel Elliott. No, look at his stats. Everything was okay. But I can tell you that Ray Charles and Steve Warner can see that he wasn't explosive enough. He should have been. You see what I'm saying?
He didn't really start getting his groove until mid-season because he had sat out and he wasn't in the football shape. You can train all you want, but if you're not in football shape, just like D-Law, it's going to take a little bit of time. And that's why people are just crushing him in the media, D-Law this and D-Law that. But at the end of the day, just leave D-Law alone. I understand he only had 5 sacks, but if you look at a lot of these top guys, it's not easy getting 12, 13, 14 sacks every single year. And he was getting double teamed. He was getting challenged. He played more than that. So I just feel like, you know what, now you got a Mike Nolan. Now you got a Tom Sula. You got the Scott McCurley guy. I think it's going to be okay, and we'll just see. I think it's going to be a more aggressive type defense, and I think that's what we all want to see from our defense now. You know what I mean?
Right. And so was Reggie White. So was Dana Stubblefield. So was Leon Lett. So was name me some pass rushers, Kevin Green. So everybody gets double teamed. That's what I wanted to say with this Cowboys. And I hate the fact that the Cowboys are out there talking about this is business when they talking about trademarking the hot boys with the Z with all these sorts of things. If we don't hush up and shut up, man, oh my goodness. Look. We don't want the hot boys. We don't want the Purge Squad. We don't want Tupac. We don't want Biggie. We just want the Cowboys. You see what I'm saying? That's what we fell in love with as it relates to football. We don't care about the antics. We just want to see the Cowboys.
Dog.
With an S, not a Z. You know what I'm saying? want to see those guys. We don't want to see Doomsday 2.0, 3.0. We don't want to see hit your mama down, slap you up, and call you Susie. No, we don't want to see that. We just want to see the Cowboys play on Sundays.
Dog, I mean, that's just trivial. When they said you're gonna hear my lawyers, I'm just in my head like, for real, dog. Like, are we really caring about who the Hot Boys is and Hot Boys that? Like, I don't care. I don't even care if the San Francisco 49ers are Hot Boys. It's all corny to me right now. Only thing is, they're in the Super Bowl. We watching. So right now, I guess they can't call themselves Hot Boys because guess what? They in the Super Bowl and we sitting there watching them. That D is nasty and our D was average. You get what I'm saying? So I don't understand what's going on, man.
Yes, indeed, man. And it just sickens me when I look at the chat box here, and I look at your feed too, and I look at all around on Facebook, and everybody just saying, Dak, sissy, Dak, punk. You know, he can't throw, he can't do this, he can't hit water if he fell off a boat. I'm just so inclined to like, who do you guys want? You see what I'm saying? I know you don't.
They want to draft a rookie in Oregon from Justin Herbert. Or they want to trade for 4 picks for Joe Burrow, who hasn't played it down in the NFL. And all of a sudden, that's why I'm saying some of these Cowboys fans are asinine talking about, let's trade picks and get Joe Burrow. You don't know if that dude's gonna come to the pros and do what he did in college. You don't know that. You know how many quarterbacks have done that in the college ranks and came in the pros and ain't did nothing. For real? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, my thing is this. Yes, we understand that $40 million is a lot, but from what I'm hearing, Law, he was cool with that $33-34 million, but he just wanted shorter years because the new CBA is coming out, and he doesn't want to be in a 6, 7, 8 year deal contract and saying that the whole time he can't make another contract so he can make more money. They probably want to lock him in there for a long time so they can let that contract go so they don't have to pay him. And he can stay in there, and they can be a bargain later on. Because after 2 or 3 years of you playing at that level, at that salary, 3 years later, that's not going to be a high salary. So he's going to want to negotiate again so he can get more money. They're going to want to keep him in a longer deal so they can keep a cheaper rate. So that's the sticking point right there.
Yes, indeed. It is a sticking point. And it's wise on his behalf, too, because you don't want to be pitched into that long contract when they're going to increase, like you said, the overall salary cap. The money's going to be there. I think that we're going to have, close to, like you said, $94 million.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, 81 million. We got $81 million now. I think 18 is rolling over. So you're going to have to close to like $98 million. And so why don't you just sign him to that deal? It opens up more for the salary cap, and then you can mess with Amari Cooper. And then you could possibly look at a Byron Jones or using tags between those two. And then you can look at possibly signing a Robert Quinn because we know Robert Quinn's going to cost a lot of money because he put in a lot of work. He got to let him have sacks. So it's going to make his price tag go up a little more. So maybe you can sign him. I think it'll be tougher because somebody might outbid you because they're going to be desperate. So I don't know if Robert Quinn is going to come back as much as I like him, but you can still possibly get a pluck of free agent safety. It's a good safety free agent class, okay? It's a good defensive tackle class as well as far as free agency goes. So maybe you could pluck somebody as well. And then you got the draft coming up. So there's a lot of good options, but the main thing I feel like you need to do is get Dak Prescott signed. You don't think Mike McCarthy's not going to make Dak Prescott? I believe he is. So when we see what Dak Prescott was under Garrett, and it was pretty good, don't we think? I think it can be better when you have a true quarterback guru and more of a Mike McCarthy than a Jason Garrett to me.
Yes, indeed. And people, it just like so many people I got so much doubt and so much negative. You put them in a black room, they'll start developing. You see, and that's just how it is. They got so much negativity in their lives, in their career paths, or whatever they do with themselves. It just saddens, sickens me, because I just know where they at. You see what I'm saying? Nowhere near of being looking at the right and positive ways of things. Jim Kelly was a better thrower of the ball than Troy Aikman ever would wish he could be. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we already know that Jim Kelly have 0 Super Bowls. It's nothing to do with the quarterback overall skill set, but it's also to do with everything as it relates to, as I say, the team perspective, coaching, and everything else to put into context. But people only look at one side of the coin and not look at the complete picture. Look, Pat Mahomes is doing something special. We love to see a Texas kid shine. And it's sad that people always like to say Pat Mahomes versus the Dak Prescott.
Yeah, that's not a comparison.
It's not a comparison. It's not a comparison. But when we start looking at the total roster, who will you kick off the bridge to have a Tyreek Hill on his team?
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce in the mix. You see, and on top of that, you couple that with the other wide receivers that he got. The kid got weapons, and there's nothing
Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins and everybody else.
The other kid from what's the other fast kid that they got? That's a rookie. Gosh, I can't remember. He's a fast one. He just came out.
Hardman.
Yeah, Mecole Hardman.
Yes.
Mecole Hardman from Georgia. Yeah. So it ain't like he ain't got weapons back there to throw to. So, of course, you're going to have some really good.
Put it like this. Let me put it in a different perspective, not to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Cut me off.
They out the playoff and they don't have Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
They out of it. It's not even a Pat Mahomes conversation at this point. But that Tyreek Hill, I seen him do some special things, as well as we seen Pat Mahomes do special things. But it's all about working with unisys. We don't have a guy that's like a Tyreek Hill. And even if we did have a Tyreek Hill, there's a guy named Roger Goodell. You think Tyreek Hill would not got any suspensions and these sorts of things for multiple games, more than 6, if he would play for the Cowboys big game?
Man, dog, he might got a whole year.
Yeah.
He might got a whole year.
All those things, man.
Mm-hmm.
Got to.
Yeah. Got to add all those things. And like I said, I just hope that they get it figured out because they don't need to franchise Dak. I said in October that they would, but you know what? They need to figure this out because that money needs to be free to do other things. So this, like you said, this doesn't have to be something negotiated in the media again. Right. Okay. Don't negotiate in the media because like you said, it's splitting the fans. It's splitting things apart. If you love this man, like you say, and you said we need to land the plane with Dak Prescott, then stop saying it and sign him. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Stop with the madness and sign this man. And also, there's another thing we got to talk about. Somebody wants to come back with the Cowboys or somebody wants to leave. Somebody, Jason Witten, said he might possibly want to go to the Giants too, with Jason Garrett and possible Mark Colombo, because he had the interview with the Giants. Jason Witten is talking about, I'd like to see if he could play one more year with the Giants. Man, are you crazy, Witten? Like, seriously. And I heard people get mad like, he just need to retire a Cowboy. With the Emmitt Smith?
Nope.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He ain't retiring no Cowboy. He was with them damn Arizona Cardinals. There's been plenty of players, Joe Montana, there's been plenty of players that didn't retire with their teams. We didn't want to see it, but that was their choice to do it. So, Jason Witten, you want to go to the Giants? Bye. See ya. It's okay.
Yes.
I'm going to always remember you as a Cowboy. I'm never going to remember you as a Giant. So you can go over there for your 1 year. And guess what? If you start over Everett Ingram, then I'm going to know it's a good old buddy system. You feel me? So go on over there, take your little 1 yard per after you catch whatever. I'll go. I'm cool with that. Bye. I want to see Blake Jarwin. And then you know what? I know people say, well, he's rated like 10th tight end. I don't care. Go get Thaddeus Moss, get him on the squad, get him with Blake Jarwin, and make that happen because he declared, I already spit it in the air. I already threw it in the air. So come on over here. I know there might be some better tight ends, but I like Thaddeus Moss. Come on over here. Let's re-sign Blake Jarwin, get him started. And Jason Witten, you can go ahead and go because we ain't going to be scared of you if you play with the Giants for 1 year. You ain't going to do nothing to us. Nobody's scared of you, bro.
Rewrite the wrong. Get Thaddeus up in here.
You feel me?
Oh, Thaddeus Moss, man.
The name itself just makes me want to draft him. And we didn't get your dad, so let's make up for it and get you, son.
Yes, indeed. And and for all of those who are saying that we only on one side of the fence with Dak, I'm with the belief that you still go out there and get a veteran quarterback. I think that the coddling era needs to be over as well. As much as we love Tony Romo, he just never had that fire under him. He only had McGee and somebody else. You see what I'm saying?
Behind him.
Bums.
Kyle
So
Orton,
Kyle Orton,
Brad Johnson.
Yeah, so it was nobody ever just Brad Johnson. I mean, who else? I mean, who did he have? He had
Kitna.
Kitna was on there, but he wasn't really. We knew Kitna wasn't taking this spot.
And the craziest thing about it, Big Gay James, you had fickle fans then. I remember fighting for Tony Romo, and people were saying, "Put John Kitna in there. He don't throw the turnovers. I want
Yes,
John
because
Kitna
remember
to
everybody was
start."
kidding him about them interceptions, and when I
Yeah,
said that thing about Dak Prescott, people was quick to bring up Romo, and I said, man, when Romo got his deal, okay, first of all, Romo didn't have anything. Man, Romo threw 13, 19, and 14 picks his first 3 years starting, dog. Like, come on,
yeah.
he was a high interception in an INT, man, and that's what we were all mad about. So I really don't want to hear that kind of noise. Just get Dak in here and let's move on and sign these other guys. If this is your man, you keep on saying it's Stephen Jones. I don't want to hear it no more in the media. Just sign the man. Now, there's also a guy, and I want to ask your particular feelings about this law, Mr.
Yeah.
Dez Bryant.
Dez, man.
Everybody wants Dez to come back. What do you think? What do you want him to come back?
He'll run around. And remember, you listening to, hey, bring the guy back for a cup of coffee. I think that if you go look up Always Open, and there's D-Rob that's on the Instagram page. When I look at Dez Bryant cutting, going in and out of his break, I said, whoa, where has this been in 2015? Matter of fact, even though we love Dez Bryant in 14, where were these type of routes in that year? You see, Dez is cutting on a dime. I know it's against air. I do know. But his explosiveness is there. He can get in and out of his break is quick. I know it's against air, big game, James. But I never seen Dez this explosive since his probably rookie year, maybe his sophomore year. But he's cutting in and out of his breaks, man. He's doing a great job with D-Rob, man.
I saw a video of him,
Go
and
look at it.
yes, he did look explosive. He looked quick. He cut on a dime. He did, and he's had 2 years off of football. So we got to look at. Guess what? What do these players complain about? Their bodies. Their bodies being worn down. Their bodies being worn down. He has 2 fresh years of no wear and tear. Nobody hit him. No anything. He had a whole season to rehab that Achilles tendon too. So that made him even more stronger. So I said during the season, I made a video and said, should they bring Dez back? And I said yes, and this was when Amari Cooper was hurting. So I don't have a problem with it. The only thing is I just don't see it happening. The main reason why is because of Stephen Jones. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I don't see it happening at all. Go
So
ahead.
that's why we can all jump up in there and say we want Dez back. But I try to think of from the Cowboys and what did they think. And Stephen Jones was the one instrumental in getting rid of Dez Bryant. Okay. So if he was instrumental in getting rid of Dez, 2 years later, I don't see Stephen Jones saying, oh, yeah, let's go ahead and bring Dez Bryant back. Well, I feel like when Stephen Jones is kind of done with you, he kind of done with you. So I just don't see that reunion and him bringing back Dez. And also, not saying Dez will be controversy now, but I just feel like it's going to be another distraction because you're still dealing with the contract with Dak, Amari Cooper, and then you bring Dez Bryant back in the fold. I think from the higher up still think this might be a distraction, and I just don't see a reunion, especially with Stephen Jones after he was the one instrumental in getting rid of him. I don't see him bringing him back.
Yeah, I had to chime in real quick. I had made a video the other day about the Dez Bryant thing. First of all, we think this is just a fun conversation, right? No one really thinks Dallas is going to bring Dez Bryant back. But when somebody like Dez Bryant goes on social media and says what he says, you got to talk about it. Talk about it in Cowboys Nation. But one of the things I mentioned on the video was that I don't know if he messes with this receiving corps. As much as we love him, I don't know if you can bring his alpha dogness in here with a guy like Amari Cooper. I just don't see how that could mesh. I'm sorry.
Like I said, I don't see it happening, and that's why I don't post it on my page or go ham on it just to talk about it, because I just feel like it's not a reality. It's not going to happen. And Dez has a very strong personality, and I just don't feel that Stephen Jones wants to deal with that. I just don't see him, and I just don't feel like, and just because Garrett is gone and now it opens the door, no. And then we heard Jamal Adams saying, oh, yeah, I love to play with you, Dez, this and that. That don't mean nothing. The 2 players can talk to themselves all they want to about making a reunion, but they don't sign the checks, okay? True. And they don't sign the people. So it don't matter what those 2 players conversate until the heads fall off. If Stephen Jones don't want it, you ain't coming back. So that's why I just ain't talking about Dez.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, real quick, let's let the folks know in YouTube and Facebook what's going on. So I decided we're just going to go with this screen here and go with the audio. The audio's been cleaned up. but the video was kind of funny. So as long as y'all can hear us, we're fine. I seen somebody in here say, what voice is this? I'm Skywalker still, if you don't know who I am.
You should have said, I'm God.
This is God.
This is Jerry Jones.
I don't have the patience to jack with you today.
Hey, I promise y'all, we gonna figure this out and we gonna have more fun with it, and it's gonna be a lot better. But right now, I think this is gonna work. So just listen to these beautiful voices that we have, and keep the show rocking.
You might as well just stay on in here, Skywalker, since you're already in here. And since they
You
can't
in his
see
fold, man.
we already in this. So let's just keep it rocking and rolling like we're doing, because you got that voice too, and you got that awesomeness too.
But I think got that. You are rocking with nothing but the best.
Well, ain't nobody got that.
Can't do that one.
No, can't nobody do that. But
that thing.
Here's
smooth.
my thing. So you heard what we was talking about, right?
Yes.
You already jumped on the Dez Bryant thing, okay? What's your thoughts, right quick, since we was talking about with the coaching staff? Are you worried about Garrett over there, or maybe possible Mark Colombo going over with the offensive line, and even Jason Witten going over to the Giants? What do you even think about that, Skywalker?
Well, I think that's going to help out the Giants getting somebody like Mark Colombo. I also saw they were looking at Bill Callahan, so they're making some decent decisions. Witten to me will be more of a player coach over there in New York. They got Evan Ingram. Right. Are we really going to play him over Evan Ingram?
Exactly.
No.
Right.
No, but Mark Colombo did help this offensive line get a lot better. I think they were 5th in the league in sacks given up, which is not giving up, which is really, really good compared to last year when they were, 2nd? They gave up the 2nd most sacks in the league. So, I mean, you can't be mad at Mark Colombo. He's got to do what he's got to do. So, I think it'll help them, yeah.
Yeah. Well, now, I want to ask y'all this one question. Senior Bowl's going down, because we're not going to be on here too much longer. But Senior Bowl's going down. Cowboys aren't sending none of their coaches there. They're trusting their scouts. Are y'all cool with that?
Yeah. Well, if Will McClay is there, that's all I like. You know, as long as they allow Will McClay to give his fair assessments, then let's go with it. You know, coaches still got to evaluate what's going on that's in Dallas right now, I believe.
What about you, Skywalker?
I think somebody should be down there. I mean, it's just part of doing your due diligence. I saw Clarence Hill kind of had a snarky tweet. He said the Cowboys GM is not in Mobile, Alabama right now because he's at some gala or some award show. You know how he feels about Jerry Jones. So I don't really care if Jerry's down there, as long as some scouts or somebody's down there. Somebody needs to be looking at these guys, because usually there's a senior from the Senior Bowl that comes out of the NFL or into the draft and is really good. So, and we usually draft one.
Dak Prescott.
There you go.
Well, I just feel like, you know what, I'm cool, because you know what, it'd be different if the staff was together like 3 or 4 years already. They're not. So the way Mike McCarthy is saying it is, well, you know what, we need to worry about get the staff. I need to get all the staff together. This is our first year. We need to really solidify that. So I'm going to go ahead and trust my scouts. I'm going to go ahead and trust Will McClay. I'm going to go ahead and trust the scouts, because if you look at our draft, they haven't been that bad. We know about this past year was a little uneven, but we've been getting gems. McClay's been getting gems. He's been getting a lot of good players. So I'm going to go ahead and trust that. And also, and just like you said, there are going to be some guys that come out there, but I feel like the scouts are going to see it. And I mean, a few of the players that have been mentioned have been like kind of lights out, you know, in their season and had a really good practice. One of the big names is people have been talking about is was it Javon? Is it Javion? Kinlaw?
Kinlaw, yeah.
Kinlaw. He had a really good practice. From a lot of people said that he had a really good practice today. 6'6", 310 pounds. They said he was the eye test. They said everything that he was the eye test he did in practice and was dominating once again. And you really should read the backstory on him. I don't know if you guys got a chance to read that. He was homeless. Family, they said they was, just had to heat the water, barely had electric. He said when he on a recruiting visit, he hadn't really ate, and, he was wondering what he could eat, what he couldn't eat. And it was just a really good story about this kid. And you could just really see his heart. And a lot of those things happen, and that drives those kids. And it seems like he's a real motivated type player. So I'll be really excited to see. And you know what? Some publications have the Cowboys drafting him. So, and you made a tape on him, Law. What are your thoughts about him?
Well, my thing is you can line him up in three spots, man. He can play the 0-1. He can shape the one as well. He can play in the three, so he can play 3-4 and a 4-3 down lineman positionings there. My thing is he makes everybody's better. He make everybody better.
Hmm.
To me personally, I look at him. I look at his skill set. You can say a Leonard Williams, but I compare him more so to a quote unquote David Irvin type of situation without the off-field situation that's going on, So
Mhm.
you saw him on my film assessment. It was just an observation look, of course, but he's able to bat down the field goals attempts. He's that long, got lengthy arms. So what happened in this type of situation? He makes the safety better. He makes the linebackers better. He makes the DBs as relates to the cornerback better. You get Ken Law in this particular defense, I guarantee with capital letters all throughout it that D-Law, when they start to double and triple team him, they're going to say, hey, we got D-Law down, but what about that Ken Law over there? Somebody got to put a body, an extra body on Ken Law because not only he can do one gap, he can do two gaps as well. Just as perfect. Perfect for the Cowboys, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
What about you, Skywalker? You ever got a chance to
I,
look at
I
him?
have not. I have not. So I don't even want to act like that. I have.
That's why I
Give
like
the
it, dog. You
folks
be
the
like me, like I
I'm
don't
gonna
know who
keep it
that is.
100.
He all right. He all right.
I know. I
You
know
fool
who he
around and
is.
squeeze him. You squeeze Ken Law with the 17th pick, and then if you need a defensive back like a Jalen Johnson or somebody like that, you can get him in the second round. We can go with that. Or if my guy C.J. Henderson is there, you can slap him up. Or if Jeff Gladney, if they fall to the second round, you can pick those guys up. And if even a Trayvon Diggs, those guys are some top tier corners that I got a chance to look at and do my film assessment on those guys. So we can get this thing all changed around.
Well, we definitely
Gotcha.
can. Now, there was some guys that they were talking about had stood out in practice. And I went and kind of checked them out. Dane Jackson, cornerback from Pittsburgh, 6 foot, 190 pounds. I saw a little bit of his practices and I watched a little bit of his tape today. He does look pretty good. I'm not saying he's like one of those day one prospects, but I'm looking at these guys that we all know about the big names that could possibly go first, second rounds. But when I like those players that kind of make or break your squad, or those third, fourth, fifth, sixth rounders, because those are the guys that kind of really build up your roster. Those are your real depth guys or can be eventual starters. So I was kind of looking at that. Another guy that showed out, just not showed out, but stood out to me as far as the measurables. I want to see what he looks like as well as Lamar Jackson, not the one that plays now. 6 foot
Not the
2,
fan, but the
206
MVP.
pounds from Nebraska, cornerback.
Yeah.
Jeremy Chin, um, 6'3", safety, 220 pounds. I can't remember the college. I think it's small. Saluki, some one of those smaller type colleges. But I want to check him at the safety position. They said he did a lot of real good in the one-on-ones. I got to get the channel so I can check him out. And also, KJ Hill. I know he was a receiver, but
Yeah.
man, he was killing them cats on these one-on-ones, dog. And we need some speed back there. Let's keep it real. Dallas Cowboys, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Randall Cobb. We don't know if Cobb's coming back, but it could be a big possibility with Mike McCarthy. But we still don't have a lot of that deep speed. So the Cowboys still need to be able to look for some receivers on the roster with that elite speed. So you never know. Those guys that can fall in the fourth or fifth or sixth rounds, those are guys. And another guy to keep an eye on, Neville Gallimore from defensive lineman from Oklahoma. That
Yeah.
was another defensive lineman that looked good in practice. And the tape, Texas played him. So, some of those guys right there, I'm kind of looking at because the Senior Bowl, just like Will said, Senior Bowl has a plethora of talent in there, okay? And Dallas Cowboys can get a couple good guys out of there. So I'm going to be real interested to see how these guys transform later on during the week. And then the Senior Bowl is going to be Saturday. I always play the full replay game. So be interested to see what happens with these first two picks, what the Cowboys do. Will they trade the pick? Will they keep the pick? What player will they go with? Because defensive tackle is open. Safety is open. A corner could be drafted. A receiver could be drafted. There's a lot of positions that the Cowboys could really go with in this first couple rounds.
Let me ask you guys something, Law and Big Game. Is there someone like a Derwin James or what have you to jump up there and trade for? Because I know Grant's a guy, but is he worth jumping up?
No, I don't think Grant Delpit is worth jumping up because I think he's a guy that you can stay put and get him at 17. There, McKinley Law. I know you talked about him from Alabama.
Yeah.
You could get those guys at 17. You know, they've been talking about Delpit. Go ahead.
Yeah, but if we at 17 and Isaiah Simmons is still on the board at 15, I'm
that ain't happening.
That ain't happening.
I'm hearing that a lot.
What
about Brown? I've seen some crazy scenarios where he falls to round 10ish.
What Brown can do for you, right?
So we don't think there's anyone that's really realistically going to fall and that's worth jumping for.
Yeah,
it depends, though. 13th, 14th,
that 13th, 14th, it could possibly be, but we'll have to see because the draft is funny because remember we thought Derwin James and then we're going to go higher and they dropped a little bit. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, everybody's surprised Derwin went to what? Derwin went 17th, I think, or 19th.
He went 15th, and then 2 picks later or 17th. You're right, and with 2 picks later we took LVE.
So. Players can drop and the draft can change. So I think maybe if you get to around the 13th pick and like you said, a Simmons there or a Brown is there, which I highly doubt, but it could happen. But if that happens, I would say definitely pull a trigger where you can move up and get one of those guys because Brown is going to really solve a problem in that middle for real. And we got too many free agents along that defensive line, whether it's defensive end or defensive tackle. We don't have a lot of guys signed on there.
Yes, indeed. So that we can be on the page with everybody, man. Sky, if you can see somebody comment, read them out to us, man. We'll try to give them answers, man, so we can be all part of the show.
Gotcha.
Everybody.
Well, I got Devontae Singleton. He says, was Devontae Holloman a good middle linebacker for the Cowboys? He didn't play with the Cowboys long enough because he broke his neck. So he had good flashes. I think he came from South Carolina, had a lot of good flashes, and I was really excited to see what he could do, but he broke his neck, and once he broke his neck, he had to retire. So, don't know about him. Tyrone Church brings up, what about Antoine Winfield Jr.? I think he's going to be a player because his daddy was.
Yes, and Maurice Lindquist pretty much talked to him in his rookie or freshman year when he played for Minnesota. Well, when he was playing in Minnesota there, so they got some type of rapport, some type of communication going with that. So that may be a good look for us in the third if he fall that far.
Do you think he's more of a corner or is he more of a safety, Law?
Hunter Badger-ish, maybe you can put him in those
he has that. He's a little bit big. Yeah, he's a little bit bigger than his dad because his dad was little. His dad was like 5'8", but his dad was a monster. You know what I'm saying? Playing all those years, and one of the biggest things that his dad, for that size, was a great tackler, and he was a great physical player. So if he continues to have those traits, then I really like that as a second-day pick for real.
Yeah.
What about y'all? Y'all got any? What about you, Law? Any questions over there?
I
know
thought
you got
yo, read something.
Yeah, I'm looking. I think I'm in Laws right now.
Your chat box be having 500 in there, dog. So you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, Terrence Shorts over here, man, on my Facebook group. He says if Brown drops to the 10th, we're gonna have to trade up.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I said it. I've seen some Brown dropping down to around 10. Is that somewhere where you can realistically jump and go get him?
I think if you see him drop the 10th, hell yeah, you got to make something happen with that, dog. Because, I mean, we need a defensive tackle. We need Fat Boy. He ain't a fat boy, but he's big enough. We need somebody with some wide size that can command some double teams. We don't have nobody that can command double teams, do we?
No, absolutely not.
Thank you.
Right now.
We don't have nobody can command double teams. So, yeah, we need somebody in there. And like I said, everybody's free agents. And those guys that we would re-sign, they aren't really starters. Like, you could get a dynamic player and if you re-sign an Antoine Woods, is Antoine Woods going to start over like a Brown?
Hey,
No,
absolutely not. He might not even be back.
I think they would bring. I think they're gonna bring Antoine Woods back. Well, he did make on a tweet that when they were talking about we're gonna get just players that can fit the sit, it don't matter. And then he did make I hope you got somebody for an undersized defensive tackle. So maybe he did make. I'm
telling
like
you,
that.
man.
You know how he is, but he's not gonna be they're not gonna start him as a starter. He's gonna be a backup. And plus, he's an exclusive restricted free agent.
Here's an interesting thing. What I actually like about this staff coming in and it being almost a completely new staff is that we have so many free agents that they can mold this team exactly how they want it without being handcuffed because we have to keep this player and that player and this player and that player and try to trade them or cut them or cap casualty or what have you. it's to their discretion right now. They can draft whom they want, bring in whom they want from free agency, and without having it to be fitting a round peg into a square, a circle into a square peg. You know what I mean? They're not doing that. They get to mold the team themselves, and I like that a lot.
That's true.
It is good stuff, man. Good stuff, man. And on top of that, like you said, this free agent period before the draft, it may change our look and our perspectives of it, depending on who we go out there and snatch up. If we go get a defensive tackle from the draft, from the free agency, we're not going to look at Brown. You see, unless he dropped to the 15th, and that would be crazy. As my guy Vosh Lombardi would say, if he find a gun under the seat, or you know what I'm saying, failed the drug test at the combine, maybe
Put
just maybe
a gas mask on.
Put a gas mask on, something like that. We probably need some of that to happen, but I hope it don't happen. Hope these guys have a focused attitude and focused mind to change lives for the entire family.
Well, we're talking a lot of the draft, but you're right, man. A lot of that can change drastically come free agency. That's the fun part to me.
It is fun.
And then not even that, just the draft after the draft that has been mentioned, because just like you mentioned, Law, some of these players that might have high salaries going to get cut. A lot of these guys are going to get cut, and so they wait till the waiver wire comes because they made that big salary somewhere. You get cut, you're not going to make it somewhere else, okay? So they can look at that as well as far as players getting cut that they can fit into their system or under their cap, because they're not going to be as expensive once they get cut, because they're not going to command that kind of money on the market. So there's going to be all kinds of – there's a draft after the draft with the players that are going to be cut from these teams. You have free agency, which is available to you, and you have the draft. So the Cowboys are in a good space to me, even though they have a lot of free agents. They're still in a good space because, like Will said, they can pick and choose who they want. We don't have to keep you. We can get rid of you, and then we can just sign somebody else. You get what I mean? And Dallas has money to be flexible. So that's what really helps. They're not strapped in the cap to where, we can only get a couple players and that's it. They can actually go out and get players, especially if they do it right with the signing Dak and those guys of that nature, not franchising all these people and eating up the cap of that nature.
Facts.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff indeed, Big Game James and Sky. Anything else you guys got on your mental?
No, I think that's it on my end.
I've been in here trying to smooch up with the chatters in here because of all the issues today. I'm sorry, y'all.
They're like, turn your mics up. Why that looking like that? Why are you echoing? Why this? We get it, folks. I'm sorry. We apologize. This was more of a trust me, this is gonna get better. Rome. Oh, there was another one. Rome wasn't built in a day, y'all. Everything happens, and it happens for a reason. So we had to do a little test run. We did this kind of on the fly, so we apologize that the mics were kind of low. We apologize for all the little things that the Knicks and Nets, but that's all going to be cleared up. That's all going to be cleaned up. That's all going to be dope and rectified. So please, just bypass this one. Listen to the great voices. Listen to what we talked about and don't focus on everything else. And then when you see it later on, you won't even remember this even happened.
Yes, indeed. And shout out to my Cowboys family. I saw them earlier. They were saying that, hey, we took one of their pictures and things like that. I apologize, but shout out to them. For those who's watching this channel, check out my Cowboys family and let them know that, hey, Law sent us over here. So enjoy. You know what I'm saying? It's all love here. We all one family, Cowboy Nation. I don't own no exclusive rights of anybody that's watching any of my videos or ever see any of my videos and would like to use my clips or anything like that. Feel free. For the nation. It's on the nation. I never, ever will complain if you take my stuff. That's just from Law Nation.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, we all in the same game. So, hey, it is what it is. I love you, my Cowboys fan. We all love you. So we all good.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Stick with us.
Stick with it.
Yeah,
it's okay. This was just the first little test run. Man, y'all gonna come back, so we ain't tripping. I bet you it's gonna be flame on. Like I said, you won't even remember this episode even happen. Yo got flame. You won't even remember this happen anymore. But hey, it is what it is, and we're gonna jump right back into it next week when we do the late night high. But we might got some stuff going on this week. Shoot, since I'm talking, go ahead and tell them where they find you, Law. Because we all know about Law Nation, man.
LAWSnation.net. That's my website. It's mine. It's personally belongs to me. You know what I mean? There's no other network. It's lawsnation.net. But also, you can find me on Instagram, LAWS Nation there, as well as Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, and Facebook, and two Law Nation pages, man. And we live right now on Periscope right now. I just click over.
Dude,
So
I'm trying to tell you, he go hard. He got 17 million of them. So hey, you gonna find you just open up Google, you'll be like Law Nation.
Facts.
It's just right there. Google me. Yeah.
Holla, and then you gotta holla at my guy Skywalker. Still, tell him where you find you at. This is the new up and coming. I don't care what y'all say. Don't even bypass what happened today because we were just doing test run. This man, go check out his production. He's a banger. So tell them where they can find you at, Skywalker.
Hey, you can find me on YouTube right here, Skywalker Still, spelled out just how you would think, like we're watching Star Wars. So Skywalker and Still is STEELE. I am on Facebook, Will Still Senior. And those are the two main places I'm at. Oh, yeah, Twitter. Definitely on Twitter. A lot of Cowboys banter on Twitter every single day. Definitely during the off season and the season. At Because Cowboys, just like you spell it, just like you hear it. At Because Cowboys. So Skywalker Still on YouTube and At Because Cowboys on Twitter, man. Hit me up.
That's a good name. And before you go, Big Game James, hey, Skywalker, man, I really, really, really appreciate you, man, for stepping into the mix and producing this show today. A lot of people are going to look back at this and say, hey, this is how it started, but it's not going to end right now, Cowboy Nation, because this is like a little seed that me and Big Game James and the nation, we putting water on this thing, baby. It's going to grow and it's going to be nasty. In a couple months, man, this thing is going to be flat out nasty. People going to be running to it and be like, hey, when y'all going to do another show? Yes, we're going to get it right one way or another.
See, drop bombs. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, you drop bombs like Hiroshima. Go listen to that Dr. Dre Chronic type, man. He'll tell you, man.
Indeed.
But listen, man, just like Law said, we planting seeds, man. We told y'all we trying to build this network and do this collab thing and make it with this thing where everybody grows and everybody. So you just continue to stay tuned because it's going to be fire and flame. And one last thing, next month, I'm going to be starting a weekly show in Dallas Cowboys DC4L. It's a private group, and also DC4L Deluxe is going to be called DC4L Download. We're going to do once a week shows, prizes, games, giveaways, all that good stuff. And that's going to be popping. It's going to be hardcore. We're going to have guests, interviews, all kind of things. So please, that's going to be located mainly on Facebook. So please jump in there. It's going to be coming off my Big Game James page. My Skywalker Still is going to be doing the ones and twos. Law's going to jump in with me too as well. He's going to be on some of my shows. It's going to be fire. So please get in there. If you're not a subscriber already to DC4L, get in there, be a subscriber, because that thing is going to be hot next month. And we're going to make all this thing grow. And y'all going to be just continue to tune in and love this good stuff that we're going to keep on bringing, because we ain't going to never stop.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. I just got one question for him.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Yeah, just not while you're here. That's my jam right there, boy.
Hey, hey, that's about all for me. I ain't really got nothing to say. Y'all know where Big Game James is at in Silver Blue Nation. Go check it out.
Yes, indeed.
And we out.
And remember, you're listening to Nothing But the Bass.